Hey guys, we are on day 121 in our Bible reading plan, and today we are reading in the books of 2 Samuel and 1 Chronicles. In 2 Samuel, we're reading chapter 5, and in 1 Chronicles, we're reading chapters 11 and 12. Okay, so in 2 Samuel, we are reading chapter 5, and so far, 2 Samuel has recounted the account of how David has come to be anointed king. So chapter 5, David is finally going to be anointed king. He's going to be anointed king at Hebron, in the Lord's presence. It tells us he reigns over the people for a total of 40 years, and 30 of those years are in Jerusalem. And then it tells us the account of David going in and taking Jerusalem back from the Jebusites. So he marches into Jerusalem, he takes the city back, and then he establishes his home in Jerusalem and calls it the city of David. Now we're going to read a very similar account in the book of 1 Chronicles in chapter 11. It's also going to tell of David being anointed king, the conquest of Jerusalem, and it also tells of David's warriors, and it lists them by name. It actually lists the best soldiers. Then in chapter 12, we're going to get another list. We're going to be given a list of David's men and his supporters, and we're told with the first group that they were Saul's relatives from Benjamin that began supporting him, that there were Gadites who began supporting him, Manassites, and then we have a list of all of the numbers of men who came from different tribes of Israel to come and support David. And so we have this picture that David's power is growing, that his strength is growing, that his numbers have grown, and we're beginning to see how God is really establishing him as king and establishing his throne over Israel. And then in chapter 12 and verse 38, this is what we're told. All these warriors lined up in battle formation came to Hebron wholeheartedly determined to make David king over Israel. All the rest of Israel was of one mind to make David king. They spent 3 days there eating and drinking with David, for their relatives had provided for them. In addition, their neighbors from as far away as Issachar, Zebulun, and Naphtali came and brought food on donkeys, camels, mules, and oxen. Abundant provision of flour, fig cakes, raisins, wine, oil, herds, and flocks. Indeed, there was joy in Israel. Israel finally has her king, the anointed one of the Lord, the currently anointed one of the Lord, and this is the beginning of David's reign. So the book of Chronicles paints this very exciting picture of just this new thing that the Lord is doing over Israel. There's joy in Israel. Everyone is in support of David. And it's this beautiful picture that the Lord has brought David into his kingdom. And now we're going to read how the Lord continues to bless him and continues to move through him and promises that David's kingdom will endure forever. As I'm reading this today, I'm just encouraged by all of the support that the Lord has brought David through this process. As we were reading, that Saul is chasing and pursuing David, you sort of don't hear that people are leaving Saul's ranks and joining David as this is happening. And you sort of don't have this full picture because we've been so focused on what's happening to David, of the other things that the Lord has been doing and building and strengthening David as a ruler over Israel, and how he's been establishing David sort of behind the scenes throughout this account. And here we have this full, beautiful picture of David, King David, finally come into his throne, and all of the support he has, not just the military support he has, which he does, but also that all of the people are excited and in support of David in his new position. And I'm reminded that there are times in our lives when we don't see the full picture of all of the things that God is doing, and that those moments take deep trust of the Lord and a commitment on our part to continue following God wholeheartedly in whatever he's doing in our lives. And so I just want to encourage you today that if you're in that place where you just don't see what God is bringing together on your behalf or doing on your behalf, that he does bring all things together for his good purposes in his timing. And so just remain faithful, keep going, stay the course, keep reading the Bible, keep drawing near to him. His word tells us that if we draw near to him, he will draw near to us. And I firmly believe that that's true for you as well today, as true as it was when they wrote it. It is true for you today as well. I hope that encourages you. I can't wait to hear what the Lord is speaking to each of you today.